Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Inside. Today we're looking at another Cthulhu Wars expansion. This expansion pack is Ramsey Campbell Horrors 1. Of course this is based off of Ramsey Campbell's Mythos editions to the Cthulhu stuff that was done originally by H.P. Lovecraft. Now inside here we are going to find 3 loyalty cards, 2 unique spellbooks, 5 miniatures. The minis are 3 insects from Shagai, Galaki, and Eo Hort. I'm just guessing on pronunciation because there's no actual pronunciation guide, just a bunch of people that think they know what it says. So this is put out by Petersen Games, ages 14 and up. You of course need the Cthulhu Wars main box set to play. This is just an add-on. Now, an interesting thing to note is that in the box, it's labeled with an I for the Roman numeral 1. But if you get the Ramsey Campbell Horrors 2, it's the number 2, the Arabic one that we use the most. It's not a Roman numeral 2. So I don't know why they did that. Find it a little weird, since these both came in at the same time. Anyway, this is part of my buddy Wyatt's collection. He was nice enough to let me open these for the show. So let's open it and see what we got. These retail for about 25 bucks. They are really hard to find, so you're probably going to end up paying more than that. If Petersen Games does a Kickstarter and you like these games, I recommend getting in on the Kickstarter, because these are so hard to find afterwards, and they usually cost you quite a bit more than 25 bucks. I've seen these going for about 50 bucks on eBay already. So let's see what we got in here. Alright, so look, the minis in a second. First we're going to look at the cards. Let me zoom in so we can get a better look. Alright, so first we have insects from Shagai. There's 3 of them. These are neutral monsters, so I'll read the neutral monster thing again. If you've already heard this from the other videos, go ahead and skip forward about 15-20 seconds, maybe 30, I don't know. You may purchase the ability to summon a neutral monster during the Doom phase. You may only earn 1 neutral monster type per Doom phase. However, there is no total limit of how many neutral monster loyalty cards you obtain. When it is your turn to perform a ritual of annihilation, simply lower your Doom by 2 points. You may still perform a ritual if you wish. When you spend the Doom points, choose a neutral monster loyalty card from among those available and place it by your faction card, adding the figures into your pool. When you take your card, you usually get a free monster that can be placed immediately. Once you earn a neutral monster loyalty card, you keep it for the rest of the game. From then on, only you may summon and control its associated neutral monsters. Alright, so the insects from Shagai, place 2 Doom to obtain this loyalty card, plus place an insect from Shagai in your any area. Any area, wow. Cost 2, combat 0. Mind Parasite, ongoing. All Alkalite cultists who are not on a gate and share an area with an insect from Shagai are controlled by you during the action phase, for only the following purposes. 1. Only you can move them. 2. They fight on your side in any battle. Wow. They do not benefit from any faction spellbooks, including yours. They can only be captured by you if their true faction permits it. They cannot be captured by their true faction, although they could be targeted by a spellbook or killed in battle by them, etc. Once an Alkalite is no longer in an insect's area, he is free. These cultists are not controlled by you during the Gather Power or Doom phases. They provide power and Doom to their true faction. So that's an interesting ability. I'm intrigued by that one. That has some strategic possibilities. This time we've also got some really nice cardboard like spider type counters. There's 6 of them. They're double-sided, nice, real thick card stock, which is way better quality than I expected. Then we've got our other cards here. These are our Independent Great Old Ones. So let me read the back of the card for these. Independent Great Old Ones, Awakening. Take its loyalty card and place the figure on the map under your control. Add its spellbook and any tokens to your pool. There is no limit to how many independents you may control. You may use an independent to help awaken another one. If your independent is killed, this is for death. If your independent is killed, place its loyalty card, figure, unused tokens, and spellbook back in the general pool. Tokens already on the map remain there. If you had earned its spellbook, it falls off the loyalty card and is no longer in effect. If this independent is awakened again, even by the same player, the spellbook must be earned again. Spellbook. Each independent has its own spellbook to be earned. When the requirements are met, place the spellbook on the loyalty card and reap its benefits so long as you control the independent. This does not count as one of your faction spellbooks for any purpose. You cannot place it on your faction card. Doom Phase. When you do a ritual of annihilation, do not gain an Elder Sign for any independent Great Old Ones you control. Note, for your first game with independents, we recommend using 1 fewer independent than the number of players. So here we have Ihort. So we're going to go over his card first, or its card. I don't know gender on this. How to Awaken Ihort. Cost of 4. Number 1, your controlled gate is in an area with your Great Old One. 2, pay 4 power and place Ihort in the area containing the gate. Combat value of 0. The Brood, ongoing. When you awaken Ihort, immediately replace all of your Alkalite cultists in play with Brood tokens. Brood tokens are cultists with a combat of 1. They cannot take the move action, nor can they be moved by movement-like or movement-modifying abilities, such as Submerge or Arctic Wind. Brood tokens can still be pained or moved by enemy abilities and spellbooks. Alright, now to get the spellbook, you have at least 3 Alkalite cultists in play. That spell is Unclean Bargain, Doom Phase. If you have any Brood tokens in your pool, replace your Alkalite cultists with Brood tokens on a 1-for-1 basis until either you run out of Alkalite cultists on the map or Brood tokens in your pool. This is not optional. So basically you're just turning your cultists into monsters. Alright, Galaki. How to Awaken Galaki. Cost 4. Number 1, your controlled gate is in your area with your Great Old One. 2, pay 4 power and place Galaki in the area containing the gate. Combat equals the number of Alkalite cultists in your pool. The Tomb Herd, Gathering Power Phase. Earn 1 power per Alkalite cultist in your pool. Count these before any enemy sacrificing your captured cultist gives them back to you. Alright, to get a spellbook, you are first player to reach 0 power in the action phase. Windwalker taking the Hibernate action does not fulfill this requirement. The spellbook, Green Decay, Gather Power Phase. When a captured cultist is sacrificed and returned, gain an Elder Sign instead of your normal reward of 1 power. So that's the cards. Pretty interesting. These definitely can change the course of a game, especially those Brood tokens. That can really throw off a plan or two. So these are real nice thick card stock, very high quality, very nice printing, nice matte finish. But let's look into the minis, and let me adjust the camera and we'll get right into that. Alright, so here we have the minis. There are 6 total. There's 3 of these insects from Shagai, Galaki, and Einhort. So let's look at them each in turn. Now the insects are pretty creepy looking. It's a little mound with some skulls and the little creatures on them. They have little wings and little tentacles that seem to want to eat flesh. So pretty detailed. This would be kind of a challenge to paint because there's a lot of detailing, especially on the skulls and the little formations around here. Not necessarily the rocks, the jagged diamond rocks would be okay, but there's a little mound here in the center that might be kind of difficult. So pretty cool looking. Bigger than I expected. I thought these would be smaller, but the fact that it is, you know, slightly bigger is kind of neat because it makes it a little easier to move around, and you don't want to lose your minis. I don't think I'd be too worried about breaking these. This is pretty thick vinyl plastic, but the top one here, if dropped, might break off, but I'd be a little skeptical as to how hard you'd have to drop that. So, pretty nice mini. Then we got, what's his name? Einhort? E-I-Hort. This is a pretty creepy nightmare monster. It's got like sort of arachnid legs, and then a big poo column with teeth, and a little pincer claw. I'd be a little worried about breaking that off right there. But otherwise, this is a real sturdy mini. Nice solid piece. It looks like it's all one piece glued on the base. Oh, this little claw down here in his junk area, that's glued on. And this one might be as well. So yeah, I'm not sure if the legs are glued on. Yeah, the legs are glued on. So it's a main column poo body, and these legs are all glued on, and this little legs here, and this little T-Rex arm there. So pretty creepy looking mini though. Lots of detailing on the folds of the flesh and the whatever these things are. So real nice detailing as always. They get some good sculpts on these. And then we've got Galaki, who is just a little bundle of spines and pointy things on this like almost diamond surface serpent body. His big open mouth with lots of teeth in there, and his multiple eyes. Pretty sketchy looking. This one, it does have noticeable seams on the back down here at the little below the base of the jaw here. It goes around. That's got a noticeable seam, and one by the tail here. But all in all, I'd be more worried about bending some of these little spines, so you want to be careful with this one. These spines are going to make it a little difficult to paint if you paint them different, or you paint the body in different colors along different coils, I guess, or sections. So be aware of that. That'll pose a real challenge if you're trying to paint this up. I won't even bother trying, but there are seams, like there's a seam along here and here. Not quite as noticeable. He's got a hole in his mouth, that's weird. But yeah, there is a seam here, and then the one goes across here down toward the tail, which is a separate piece. So be aware of that. This one might come apart on you. The head, especially that area there, doesn't look like it's too securely done. But other than that, pretty minor complaint in my opinion. The minis look really good. They're really high quality. I'm not worried about breaking these from casual play like I am with other game companies' minis. So yeah, very nicely done. The rules look interesting. Definitely add something new to the game. But that is the Ramsey Campbell Horrors 1 for Cthulhu Wars, put out by Petersen Games. And definitely something to think about if you're playing Cthulhu Wars. These independent factions definitely have a lot to add. And I think this is a good one. But if you want it, snatch it up if you find it cheap. Just take the risk and drop the extra money. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think these would be a good add-on. But that'll do it for this episode. As always, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel, and we hope to see you on the next episode of What's Inside.